living off the poor, never happy, just wanting more. I watch people like Sherlock Holmes, checking out how they go about, how they move, how they twist and shout, like an ancient foreign soul.
Hi Andy. Hi. Nice to meet another Andy.
Exactly. Hi Andy, I need to say to you as well. Yeah.
Lovely to always meet Andy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful name, isn't it?
You're not born in August by any chance, are you?
October.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I won't ask what year.
No, I'm sorry.
we'll keep that between men. Men never talk about that.
Exactly. Especially men.
It's a bad thing. But yeah, I've been following you for a while actually. Loving all the funk that you've been doing, wonderful funk style. You're involved with the Nils Landgren funk unit, is that right? Just make sure I say that correctly. And you've got a new album coming out, but I'm here before we talk about the new album to find out a bit more about you. How did you first become interested in music?
I mean, I've always played some sort of instrument. When I was 5 years old, I think it was, I started off playing the violin for a year or two. Then I played a little bit of piano, and then I started playing the trumpet when I was 9. And I played the trumpet from 9 to 14. I hated all of those instruments. It was a drag to practice, and I didn't like it. I didn't really connect to them. So I was doing other stuff in the meantime. I mean, I was doing a bit of sports at the time as well, so that sort of took all my time. So playing an instrument was very secondary, or maybe third. But then when I was 15 or 16, I got to borrow a friend's guitar, and I instantly fell in love with the instrument. And that sort of was the gateway for me to getting really interested in music. And that was the whole thing. I mean, finding your instrument is such an important part of it. So I sort of got obsessed by the instrument, and I couldn't stop playing. Because coming from trumpet, I mean, you need to practice to be able to practice, because it's so hard on your lips, and you need to have those small muscles going. So just playing for 15 minutes, right when you're getting into it, you gotta quit, because your mouth is totally shut, you know. So playing the guitar, you could, without any sort of practice before, you could actually sit for 8 hours. I mean, your fingers would hurt, but it works. And that was a big difference to the trumpet, and plus you could also sing at the same time. So at the same time, when I started playing the guitar, I also started singing.
Taking chances on the dance floor, in the midst of all the body heat. How would she know you got a heart of gold when there's music and she try to speak? Always looking, but never finding someone to call your own. But when you look, she's looking back at you, thinking that she's just as tired of being alone. Wow, wow. You've been keeping it together for so long. Now you're trying to move on and forget what went wrong, and take your chances on the dance floor, yeah.
My first idol was Elvis Presley. Then Whitney Houston was a huge, favorite when I was a bit older. Lionel Richie, Slick Soul. That was the big stuff. And then later on came Lenny Kravitz was a huge thing for me. I mean, '89 was his first record, I think, and he was one of the first to do this retro thing back to the '70s when it comes to sound and everything. And then with the guitar playing and everything, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, of course, a little bit of Led Zeppelin as well, and then Prince in a big way. He is still, if I could name one artist who has really influenced me, both as a guitar player and as a songwriter and singer, it's really Prince. Other big influences are, then I started, getting into jazz, listening to jazz more, starting listening to jazz when I was sort of around 17, 18 years old. And the big thing there was John Scofield, the jazz guitar player, because I'd heard jazz guitar before and I found it a bit boring. But he had, a bit of everything. He had the funk there and he had the blues and the way he plays, but in a sort of jazz context, which really excited me a lot. And before that I'd listened to Chet Baker and Gary Mulligan and those kind of sort of slower playing but very melodic players. Miles Davis came much later. It took me a while to understand Miles. But when I finally grasped him, he was huge as well. And Wayne Shorter, I had such a hard time understanding Wayne Shorter, and then suddenly clicked. I heard a couple of songs and it was, okay, now I get it.
So do you feel that's something that people should do, which was to try to understand the music? That's some things you don't get off the bat, that you don't get it straight away. It does take an effort almost to sink in.
Definitely, and I think some stuff you can sort of fall in love with instantaneously, and other stuff takes time, but you don't really have to sort of force it. It'll come. If you have a big interest in music, you'll come back to stuff with a sort of more open mind or with a deeper understanding of maybe music. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to understand Miles Davis, but you gotta, sometimes his sort of expression is a bit too edgy or too difficult might not appeal to you at first listen. You might think, several years afterwards also, it's a bit edgy and a bit not very smooth, but you'll understand, okay, now I get it. It's the uniqueness of his voice that is the huge thing, and then you suddenly appreciate it in a different way. And then you sort of, the rough edges don't seem so rough anymore, more interesting instead.
1, 2, 3, 4. Don't know what to do. Times change, so why don't you? You bored and without a clue, so put some butter on it. There's something for everyone. You know you need to get it done. Finding out how to have some fun, so put some butter on it. Cook dinner for all your friends. Hang out till the party ends. Sleep in and then do it again. Put some butter on it. Dragon, you can't stand it. Then your boss is a jerk or even worse. What you need is to find a new sensation. Get the flavors out, put butter on it. Well, put some butter on it. Woo, 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 put it on.
How would you describe it, the new album?
Brain Boogie.
Brain Boogie. Yeah, I was going to say Boogie Brain. I thought it's not Boogie Brain.
I feel it works too. I consider that.
What's I call it? Brain Boogie.
Yeah.
It's better if you describe it. I know what I took from it, having had a pre-listen to the album. But if you would describe it even from the name Brain Boogie, what was
I would say it's the most political. Political is a big word, maybe, but I decided first of all not to write any love songs on this one. So I wanted, the theme for it was either sort of about society or lyrics about funk. Those were the two components lyrically that I wanted to use as a sort of dogmatic limitation. Tried to write lyrics more in a sort of groove-oriented context, but still with a meaning, Even though there's a lyric about funk, with a sort of twist.
Yeah.
And I just felt, I don't know, I mean, I have no idea if it's gonna make anyone think differently about the world or not, but I just wanted to contribute the way I can. Because this is what I do, and this is what I do when we're touring. This is what we talk about, and this is what we try to spread love instead of anything else. So many people are just advocating hate and fear, and we're doing quite the opposite when we're playing our music. And I just wanted to write a bit about that.
I wanna go on a journey into outer space to see what could be hiding beyond the moon's face. I'm slipping into my spacesuit, rockets all fired up, prepping for the starting sequence and hoping for the best of luck. I'm ready to leave on the Space Express, 'cause we're leaving a planet in a bloody mess. I'm ready for takeoff on the Space Express, on the Space Express.
Who might watch this video might be thinking, well, you know, the music scene here is amazing. So many great Swedish artists that are coming out. There must be clubs, events, nights, live bands, but the reality is quite different.
Yeah, it's not that much going on, unfortunately, on the live, on the live venue side of it. I mean, it's a small country. We're now sort of 9, maybe soon 10 million people. And it's a big country. I mean, it's a bit bigger than Germany, but there are 10 times as many as we. I play a lot in Germany, so I mean, they have clubs in all sizes, from 20 to 60,000, 20 people to 60,000. They have everything in between. And it's a huge difference to tour there, because no matter how big the band is you're playing with, there's always a venue for it. I mean, of course, finances follow. Of course, if you play 20 people, you're not going to make as much. But still, there's an interest, and there is so many small places that are run by just enthusiasts. But it works, because the towns are really close together. And I mean, in the Ruhr district, I mean, there's one town after the other. So many people are living there. It's really dense. And plus you have, I mean, Holland, which is equally dense. And you have France, which is not that dense, but still it's a huge country. And so, I mean, it's a big difference, Scandinavia to the rest of Europe. So, playing sort of soul, funk, kind of jazzy stuff in Sweden, not that many venues you can actually play at if you're not a huge name.
Yeah.
So Stockholm used to be more happening when it comes to live music. I think there were more venues. And clubs, live clubs, not so much going on. Fasching is still great, I think. They do an amazing job when it comes to sort of diversity when it comes to music.
It seems bizarre, and it's frustrating, as I know with the artists I've spoken to, like yourself, that there aren't places to play, because one of the key parts of music today, we can't just be online, or the music can't be online, it's to meet your fans, to meet people who might never have heard of you, be in a situation with you and hear and connect with the music.
Because I mean, seeing everything on the screen it's one-dimensional. It's nice in many ways, but there are no smells, there are no sensories, right?
Yeah.
It's just eyes and ears. Maybe that's 2 senses out of 5. But if you go to a club, it's all 5 senses, right?
Yeah. It is.
Plus, if you're single, you get a chance to meet someone, right?
It's very true.
And stuff happens, interaction between people.
Yes.
I mean, it's important for people to meet other people.
Yeah.
It's really destructive just to sit home and do stuff online. You can do everything online. I get fed up with online. It bores me to death. I can do everything in front of a computer, but I try to do stuff that brings me away from the computer. Because everything can be done with a computer, it doesn't mean your life can improve. just because it can be done there.
It's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you and finding out more about your music and hearing about you and how you feel about the world. And I think there's lots of musicians and people who will also identify from where you're coming from.
Thanks for having me.
An absolute pleasure. And I hope to see you perform. I hope to see you soon, even in solo or within the units or wherever you are. And
We're doing quite a bit of. We're actually I'm doing my gig with my band on the 30th of September. Then we're playing with the funk unit, 4 nights at Fasching actually in I think it's October.
Nice.
Gonna be nice too.
Yeah.
And a bit of touring all over the place.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
it's great to hear. It is nice to hear. I know you're busy, and you're normally very busy actually.
Yeah, this year has been crazy actually.
Yeah,
but a lot of fun as well.
I do keep my eye on you. I do keep my eye on you.
Yeah.
I do follow you, and I'm like, where is he now?
Well, it's been a lot of traveling. Well, I mean, I love traveling, but sometimes it's just nice to stay put and relax back home for a bit. But I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm glad that after these years that I still can do what I love, and it's a huge privilege. I must say. Cool, man. Thanks so much.